All right, guys, welcome back to the Totally Worth It podcast, week number 6, right, babe?
Yep.
Episode 6. My name is Kendall.
And I'm Haley.
And we are your hosts. Welcome back.
What's up?
Can you believe it? We made 6 episodes already, babe?
No, that's 6 weeks.
6 weeks. We have the character trait of commitment.
Maybe.
6 is a lot, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can, the goal is to commit to it, do it, and we've been good about it so far.
Yeah. I struggle sometimes at night
wanting
to do it, but
you do. It makes me sad sometimes.
but it's not that I don't
I know that it's not, but it's still like I just need someone that's, in my corner.
Once the sun goes down, don't ask me to do nothing. I gotta go to bed.
So explain real quick for everybody who's listening that can't see what we're doing. Explain the difference between the first 5 weeks and right now, what we're doing right now.
Okay, so the first 5 weeks have been on our couch with them reclined.
Yeah, comfortable.
All cozy and comfortable. And Kendall threw my idea in the trash can about just adding some things to our living room that would make it a little bit nicer. So when we go to video, it still looks nice. And then we're still in the comfort of our living room.
Yeah.
Because we do have a nice living room. But no, he wanted to have his own special room for it. So now we're on a futon.
We're sitting on a futon in our spare room.
Bedroom with my child's wooden toy box holding the
what do you
soundboard.
Call that? Hope chest?
Yeah, like a hope chest.
Yeah.
It's holding the soundboard and the computer.
And the microphones and everything.
Nowhere near as comfortable. So.
But it's very, very practical because we walked in here, plugged the computer in, hit record.
Yeah. But
you can't do that in the living room because there's cords. I'm a
comfort gal.
But in the living room, there's cords everywhere. We got a 2-year-old running around. She's grabbing microphones.
Yes, but that's why my idea of getting the nice coffee table that like opens up on one side and like has the thing that comes out on the other. You can hide everything in there, and then when we're ready to do it, just pull it out and hit go.
Yeah, that's a great idea, babe. That's a great idea, babe. Except for we'd have to spend $300 to get it.
It's not $300. It's like $200.
So she's got this idea for if anybody out there who has one that's nice looking, let us know. Maybe we can buy it from you. For cheaper than
it's just like the white square with the
it's a coffee table
yeah,
that where the top comes up out of it or
There's
whatever.
2 sides. One flips up and you can store stuff inside, and the other side comes out like a thing. Adam
yeah they had one. Yeah. And she wants me to put all my sound equipment for the podcast in that, and then when we get ready to do it, we just flip the top open, everything magically comes out, and we hit record. Yeah. I just don't think that's how it's going to work. But who knows?
It would literally be just like this. It would just be sitting inside.
Yeah, but what about the microphones and all that? You know?
But they just clamp on. You just pull them out.
Yeah, but see, when I'm setting it up, it's me setting it up.
Yeah. I mean, that's you.
Yeah.
You do you.
But with this, I didn't have to set anything up.
Yeah, but I'm just not.
It just makes it easier on me. But also, there is something to be said about not being comfortable when you're talking.
I feel more awake.
You do. I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah. Well, that little 30-minute power nap I just took on the couch with Joe was nice.
That was sweet. Y'all were laying together. She was almost asleep on top of you.
Yeah. She doesn't do that very often.
I went over there and whispered in her ear. I said, "You should tell Mommy to rub your belly."
I heard you. And she said...
She didn't.
She said, "Mommy." And then she didn't say nothing. So I was like, yes. Let's take
Our
it
daughter
out.
makes me rub her stomach at night when we're sitting on the couch. She will not let you stop. If your arm goes away or if you stop, she turns around and she says, "Daddy, rub it." But anyway,
I don't like it because we're closer to her room, and we have these headphones on, and I feel like I'm not going to hear her.
Yeah, I promise you.
I mean, I know we will.
You would for sure hear her. But I sat in this room last night when I set everything up, and I talked on the phone, and I listened to some music, and I was plugging and playing and doing all this stuff, and she didn't hear a peep. So,
okay. All right, moving on.
Anyway, moving on. So week 6, we are back. Got some good stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about some hobbies, some icks, We're going to discuss a suggested topic from someone regarding our country. And we're going to talk about how to, is it possible for a one-income household family to exist in 2024?
Yeah.
So on the topic of hobbies, dear, I thought it would be interesting to really ask each other about hobbies. So I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
What does Haley Knight like to do in her free time?
I like to read.
You like to read? What kind of books do you like to read? Or is it books?
And what else would I be reading?
I mean, you could read the Reader's Digest, the comic books.
No. I mean, I like...
magazines. Cereal box.
I like romance novels. I like suspense. I don't really know. That's all I've really been reading lately.
Romance novels.
Yeah. Those are my favorite.
I bet they are.
Yeah.
I bet they are. Romance novels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do read a lot.
Yeah, when I can.
Yeah, most people have something they do when they lay in bed at night before bed, whether it's scrolling or whatever.
I like it though because I've quit scrolling.
Yeah, you have, and I've enjoyed that more. You're entering your old woman phase.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Where you read books at night.
Yeah.
When we retire, you're gonna have like a fireplace, and you're gonna.
Oh my gosh!
Have a blanket over your chair, and you're gonna be reading your books.
Yes, I would love to do that.
Quiet down in there! I'm reading my books.
Hush.
He's about to kiss her.
Hush.
What else kind of stuff do you like to do in your free time?
I mean, I guess like any other girl, I like to shop.
Like to shop.
Yeah.
That's where our daughter gets it from.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like I don't have any hobbies anymore. I don't even know what my hobbies were before I had a kid, but I really don't know what they are now.
Oh, that's funny. You didn't have hobbies before?
I mean,
before us?
I just worked and I stayed at the beach a lot and
vacationing is her hobby.
Yeah, I love to
was
vacation.
Her hobby, and then she.
Yeah, I'd like to travel.
Me.
I do like to travel.
Yeah.
Emphasis why I found a guy that lived 2 hours away, so I could drive there.
You marry the guy who travels the least now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get you to go nowhere.
It's facts. I'm a homebody.
So I guess like reading, shopping, traveling.
Yeah, those are some good ones.
Yeah. What about you?
So there's really two major things that I like to do in my free time, and it's kind of funny because most guys it's like fishing or hunting, or especially in the South.
Can I tell you what I think yours are?
Okay.
Cooking.
Okay.
Or specifically smoking things.
I would just say cooking.
Okay. And anime.
Anime is not. No, that's not one of my hobbies.
No, it sure seems like
that's like saying One Tree Hill is your hobby.
They are. They are right now. I just can't believe that I'm 26 and just now finding this and starting it.
FYI, she's been binging One Tree Hill
since like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so if there's any One Tree Hill fans out there that want to connect with her. I just started
season 8.
She is all
I only have this season and season 9.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I watched it in high school. I actually enjoyed that show.
Now I want to like go and see everything.
Yeah. That's the lamest thing I've ever heard.
Well, I like to travel, so take me to Wilmington.
I want to go and see where they filmed One Tree Hill.
Yeah,
you know?
The River Court.
I want to go see the Washington Monument and stuff like that. She wants to go see the basketball court from One Tree Hill.
I've already seen the Washington Monument.
I have to. I want to take Joe, though.
She needs to be a lot older.
I know. I want to take her, though, whenever Washington stops being a crime-ridden crap hole.
Good luck with that. All right, what are your
anyway,
hobbies?
My hobbies. So most guys like to hunt, fish, whatever. I like to cook. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing to do in my time off from work is to find, and I've been doing this since I was a little kid, find something that I haven't made before or something that looks really good on TV meal-wise, and then go to the store and spend way too much money buying all the stuff to make it, and then come home and try and experiment and make it.
I think you talked about that in like the first or second episode.
Did I?
How you and your mom, that was
Yeah. That was our thing. My brother, he's a little bit older than me. He was an athlete. Now I played sports too, but my brother was like the jock, you know?
Yeah.
And I just kind of stayed home with Mom and cooked and played video games, and I was the nerd. My brother was the jock.
Oh, that reminds me.
Uh-oh.
Let me add that to
Oh,
my
dear.
list.
Oh, dear. So anyway, I love to cook, specifically meat, and I like to bougie cook. I like to secretly think I'm like a gourmet chef with only 2 recurring customers, you and our daughter.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, and we talk all the time, and all of our friends, they're all like, when are you going to open a restaurant?
Yeah, I do love to cook. It's so much fun. It's so gratifying to see people eat your food after you cook it and put a lot of time and energy into it.
I remember last year we went like hardcore for like, it was probably a week. We were like fantasizing, and I created this whole menu.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And we had all this stuff planned out. Like
we have at least a week out of the year every year where we like plan on doing something crazy.
And then we can't afford to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cooking is a huge hobby of mine. It's basically all I do when I'm in my free time outside of work. And I love to play with techie things like sound equipment, hence the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was actually having this conversation with somebody that I worked with the other night about the podcast and kind of why we're doing it. And I think it's because I've ever since I was younger and started playing music, I've always had a media itch that I just have to scratch somehow, whether that's playing music or making YouTube videos or writing songs or whatever it is. And this kind of gives me an outlet to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
In the creator world, I love creating things like media wise and stuff, and I like playing with all this soundboards and microphones and stuff.
Because that is not my hobby. It just irritates the snot.
I love it though.
Like if I can't hit power and it work,
I
don't even want it.
Yeah, that's why we have this set up in here.
I know.
Because it takes me 45 minutes to plug everything in and get it all set up in there.
But I will say, if it's something media wise that once I have learned it, I got it and I can use it like the back of my hand.
Yeah, that's true.
But learning it, I hate it. I hate it. That's why I make you, like every time I edit my website or when I first built, I make you build them and then I watch you build them and then I can edit them on my own. But I can't.
When we built your website for your business, it was like that. I kind of did it all in the very first night or two, and then after that, you just took off with it.
Yeah.
And I never really did anything else.
Like I pick up on things fast, but I have to have that willpower to
find it and learn
it. Yeah.
And that's another reason that I love doing this podcast so much is because it gives me an opportunity I get to edit the audio afterwards and trim clips and things like that. I think
maybe I would enjoy this podcast part of it. Like it's all your thing, the editing and all that. Like I 100% letting you take the reins on all that.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe I would want to be more involved in that if I wasn't running social media for like 3 other people plus myself 7 days a week. True
that. Yeah. And that's why I haven't asked you to do any of that.
Yeah. But you're doing a fantastic job.
Well, thank you, dear. Thank you. I appreciate that. So those are my two big hobbies. Now here's a question for you in reference to hobbies.
Okay.
What are some hobbies that people do that you know that seem ridiculous, or like hobbies that you see other people are into in their free time, and you're like, God, that looks exhausting or stupid or ridiculous or whatever?
I feel like, this is gonna
like knitting or what? Something, you know what I mean?
I think this is gonna hit a little nerve with people.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people that do
this. Hit them.
But I don't care. I mean, nothing wrong that you do it, but golfing, I don't know. Like, I've worked some golf tournaments. I even worked at a golf course for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I mean, the driving the golf cart part was cool, but the actual, like,
I think people.
it's just it's quiet and it's
hot,
it's hot as crap.
Yeah.
It's time consuming. And you mean to tell me you've got to hit this ball and try to get it in this hole that's like 3 miles away. And you have to try to do it in like 3 strokes to get it at par.
Yeah.
I would never be able to do that in 3 strokes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be like, what is it? Is it birdie when you're under and bogey when you're over?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I know bogey is over. So, yeah,
birdie
is birdie and then eagle.
I don't know nothing about an eagle. I just thought it was birdie, par, and
I think eagles
boat.
when you get it in like 2 or something.
Oh, I don't know. It would take me like 12.
I don't know. I don't know anything about golf.
That's why I would hold up so many people.
Yeah.
It's just
so that's a ridiculous hobby to you?
Yeah, if I'm going to be outside and sweat, I got to be around some water, you know?
Yeah.
But,
any other ones?
hobbies that other people do.
That look like they're not a hobby, or you would never want that as a hobby?
I don't know, really. That's just like golfing is the first one that comes to my head because I just don't care. For
me, this one's really going to be controversial with literally everybody that I know.
I feel like I know where this is going.
This is, and I'll tell you why, but hunting and fishing.
Oh.
What did you think it was going to be?
I thought you were going to say like ATVs, like when people load up all these four-wheelers and side-by-sides and go.
Well, that kind of ties into hunting and fishing. Like, there's nothing wrong with people who love to go hunting and fishing. Literally all of my friends are hunters or fishermen or family members, fishermen, whatever. But there's so much work attached to it, to all of it. To go hunting, you've got to have all this gear. You got to have your gun. You got to have your ammo. You got to go somewhere in the middle.
You got to pay for a license.
Yeah, you got to pay for a
tags.
license. Yeah, and you got to go out in the middle of nowhere. You got to climb a tree, sit in a tree.
You don't always have to climb a tree.
You got to climb a tree, sit in a tree for God knows how long, and wait on something to come by. And if it doesn't have certain things, you can't even shoot it. You know what I mean?
That's personal preference, though. A lot of people will shoot the first thing they see.
But regardless, it's still a lot of work. Now,
it's
I would love to go with someone, or I don't care about the hunting part, but I think going into the woods and sitting up in a tree and just watching nature for 3 or 4 hours sounds very peaceful, and I would love to do that.
Yeah.
But hunting is just like, seems so much work. And I have nothing against killing animals.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'll eat deer. We eat deer all the time. Love it. And I love fish, but I don't care nothing about killing them.
I love fishing. I ain't eating it, though.
And there ain't nothing woke about it. All the people that want to kill them, go kill them. Kill them all.
Kill them all so you can
kill
buy
them all
the meat
and then
from
give me some meat. And then fishing, my God, do you know how much work is in loading and unloading a boat?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is unbelievably terrifying. You've got a, most people who have a really nice boat, they've got a $30,000, $40,000 boat or whatever on a trailer. You're just backing it down into a freaking lake, And then you're just like cranking some knob and hoping that it doesn't like float off into a dock or something.
You tie it off.
I mean, I get that there's a process to it, but I don't know it. And looking at it on the outside in is terrifying.
Yeah.
And I would never want to do that. It looks like so much work. And then you go out and you have a blast all day. Yeah, rah, 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 fun. Then you got to drive the boat back up there, drop somebody off, go get this truck and trailer, back it down. Who am I going to trust to back it down? And then who's going to drive the boat onto the trailer?
You.
No. No. Not a chance. There's so much stress, so much money. I don't want nothing to do with it. Yeah. I'll go with you fishing, and I'll sit on the boat. Yeah. It's fine. And it's not going to be my boat. It's going to be somebody else's boat.
Which makes me so sad because I want a boat
so
bad.
Yeah. Yeah. There's plenty of them on the toy aisle at Walmart. You can put them in the bathtub. Now, last question about hobbies.
Okay.
What do you wish that you could have as a hobby? Meaning, like, what do you wish that you had the time to or the money to have as a hobby if you could?
I would say bread making, like homesteading.
Really?
I'm like super jealous of Sarah being able to make all that amazing sourdough that she brings to our store.
Oh, really?
And I wish I had the time.
Yeah, that stuff is good.
I wish I had the time to garden. Like, I really, my goal this year is I want to have some kind of garden.
Yeah.
And I would like to say that we can do it, but like, if you ask me this week, there's not a chance. I'm so
Them
tired.
flowers is gonna die.
I ain't talking about flowers. I'm talking about
flowers, crops, the same difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Farming, I guess.
Yeah, farming.
But that's like the two that I wish I had the time for.
Yeah. Do you know what I wish I could do? And I've always asked people this. The problem with my interests and hobbies is that I always had to be the one doing it. I could never be the tag along or the background person. So one of my hobbies that I wish that I had the time and resources to do would be to like edit film or like movie type stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to be in any of it. I just want to maybe like direct it and edit it myself. But that kind of stuff takes like really nice equipment and hours of editing and time that I don't have or money that I don't have. And my time is much more well spent with my family, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
But if I had the time and resources and didn't have a kid, I would probably really be into doing something like that. Mm-hmm. Or even doing it for other people as a service or something.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that kind of thing. Sitting in front of a computer in a dark room with 2 or 3 screens and lining up audio with video and stuff. I love that, dude. Bring it on.
Maybe this will explode and
maybe so
can become your job.
Maybe so. That would be awesome. I would love that. And then I would have my own room to do this in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be nice. 3 screens. I can see it now. 3 screens.
You do.
One screen with Netflix on. Other screen. The other 2 screens.
Video and audio.
Video and audio. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah. Dimly lit. Be nice. Comfy chair. Big comfy chair. Oh, yeah.
I got to be able to edit from my phone.
Blackout curtains.
I hate editing on the computer.
Ew, gross. Editing on your phone?
Well, it's just because I
you
just
edit
run social
pictures
media
and stuff and little videos on your phone.
Yeah, I don't be doing nothing crazy.
Doesn't that always make you mad when old people are like, they say the word little about something?
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at the little, that little video you made on Facebook.
And it was like 2 hours long, and you slayed your life away for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I seen that little song you played the other week. It's not a little song. It's a song.
It's an album.
That little thing you did. I always hated that. Anyway, that's all I've got for hobbies.
Okay.
Okay,
so somebody reached out and sent us a message and wanted us to either further explain or I guess add to some icks that we have. I feel like we called it icks in like the first or second episode, but it was those are more of pet peeves, I guess. So now,
explain what an ick is.
An ick is just something that just like grosses you out. Like it doesn't, like to me, a pet peeve is something that will just like tear you out the frame. Like, oh, I can't take it.
Like disgusting or?
No, an ick is something that's disgusting.
Yeah.
A pet peeve is like, if this person does this one thing, like, I'm just going to slap them. You know, like a pet peeve, something you can't stand. But an ick is just something that's like, ew, gross.
Yeah.
which I feel like they do go hand in hand. Like a lot of pet peeves can be icks.
So what did they ask again?
Just wanting to know what our icks
okay,
were.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Icks.
You go first.
Like just stuff that people do that
Either that people do or say or I mean
that kind of grosses you out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. One, and this is not against anybody who wears a lot of makeup, but one ick that I have is when I see people who are wearing 27 pounds of makeup on their face, and I get it. I really don't. I say that, but I don't. I don't get it.
That's their thing. That's what they like.
I get it, but and sometimes, and you've explained this to me before about people that I see, and I'm like, gosh, why do they have so much makeup on? That sometimes they wear makeup to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about how other people see them, but it makes them feel more confident.
Literally why we wear makeup.
Makes them feel confident.
Yeah.
I get that, but hey, shouldn't wear that much makeup. You know, some people just don't. Some people don't need it. I don't think you need makeup, babe. I think you're beautiful.
Do you feel like I have too much on today?
No.
Okay, good.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
Be honest with you, I haven't really thought about it.
I mean, I've had it on all day, so it's pretty.
But you've also been gone all day, so
yeah.
Yeah, that's one of mine. It just seems like if you hug them, then your shirt's gonna look like you sat on a wet paint or something. You know?
Yeah.
It's just gross. It's gross.
I guess so.
It's gross. So too much makeup's an ick for me.
Okay.
What you got?
I mean, obviously, I think for both of us, one of our icks is feet in general.
Oh yeah.
We're just grossed out by feet, or I know I am.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like I don't know. I guess it is an ick. Okay, in my mind, being poor does not mean you have to be dirty.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, it just bothers me and it grosses me out when people are poor, they say they're poor, don't have a lot of money, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they're not them, but like their house.
Oh yeah.
I can't deal with it. And it grosses me out so bad because if you can afford, you might be so broke and poor, but if you can afford that pack of cigarettes, you can buy a bottle of white vinegar and clean your whole house. Because white vinegar don't cost nothing, honey. I cannot.
Oh my God. If you can buy them cigarettes, you can buy some vinegar.
Like
that's a great t-shirt. If you can buy cigarettes, you can buy vineger. That's a great t-shirt. So
that's the second t-shirt.
That's the second t-shirt. The first one is something and stressed out while I'm doing it or something.
Yeah,
complaining while I'm doing it.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and listen to it. But yeah, I just don't get it. And I know everybody has different priorities, but if I am, and I guess that turns into another ick of mine, which is bad hygiene.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it because people, I guess a lot of people think that cleaning supplies cost all this money. You can clean your whole house with hydrogen peroxide and white vinegar.
Yeah. I know you do it quite a bit.
And it's dirt cheap. So don't tell me you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Because you can.
Yeah.
Like, that just bothers me so mad. Just because you poor or you struggling, you not struggling bad enough, you can't buy white vinegar.
Yeah.
Just, you don't have to be dirty. And you don't have to live dirty just because you broke. Like, I mean, we're broke.
Yeah.
I feel like we're broke.
Yeah. We live well.
Yeah.
But we're broke because of it.
Yeah. But that has just always been a thing to me. And I never understood growing up when my mom always said, you can't go over there, but they can come over here.
Yeah.
100%.
Now you
get
understand
it. Now.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe's going nowhere.
That's different for me because my parents never said you can't go over there.
I can count on one hand how many people's house I was allowed to go to.
Oh God, no. Mine's the opposite. I can't count how many people's houses I went to.
But
But now, granted, I'm a boy, you're a girl. It was maybe a little bit different.
That, and then our parents are in like a little bit of a
a little bit different age range. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the young peeps. Mine's is old farts.
Yeah. Do you have any more icks?
I have one more ick, and this one is not controversial. This is a fact. People that like watching pimples and stuff be popped are sick. They're sick, and they need help.
Yeah.
And there's help out there, and they need to go get it. It's gross. People are like, "Oh my gosh, look at this video where they're popping this cyst on the side of this cow's stomach," or look at this video they're popping all these blackheads on people's faces, and like, you need to stop.
Like, I can pop my own pimple, but that's as far as it's going.
Yeah, it's gross. I have friends that be like, that I used to work with. They'd be like parked beside them at work, and they'd be scrolling through their phone, and you could literally hear it. And he'd be like, "Oh God!" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "You got to see this." And then he'll get over, and it's like something gross, like somebody's ingrown toe or something being like burst. And I'm like, dude, what inside of your head is making you that way?
Yeah.
It's so nasty, dude. But so many people are into it. There's like a TV show and everything. Yeah. Dr. Pimple Popper, like, that is disgusting. And those people need help. And that's my ick, and that's a fact. But anyway.
I've got
You got another one?
I got like 2.
Oh wow. Let me have it.
Okay.
Those are really the only ones I could think of for myself.
I guess this is an ick or a pet peeve. I don't really know where it falls. People that don't tip their waiters.
Ooh.
What? That irks me.
People that don't tip their waiters.
Because even if I had a horrible experience, if the food is wrong and all that stuff, that's not even your waiter's fault. Yeah. That's the kitchen.
I'm with you on this.
And
it's hard, but I'm with you.
Everybody has bad days. Yeah. And even though, like, I mean, I still get frustrated sometimes at waiters because I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't. We got to do something."
Yeah, like I could work circles around this guy. You know?
Yeah.
Or girl.
But at the end of the day, they're making $2.13 an hour. They're trying. I mean, they might not be trying their best that day. They might be having a bad day.
Yeah, like you never know what they're going through.
Yeah. And I'm just not going to leave without tipping 15-20%.
Yeah, and that's something I've had to learn being with you. I was not that guy. I was always like a 10. I mean, and I've never been a person that does not tip because I was a waiter, and that really made me mad. Yeah. And I had it happen to me a few times, but I was always like a 10% tipper. But for anybody that has not ever been anywhere with Haley, she is a very good tipper. So if there's any waiters out there that are at her restaurants that she likes, always try and get that one when she comes in the door.
I've just been there, and it sucks when you get shafted. And you, like, I don't know. Like, I remember working and having bad nights and then having good nights, and it just, you can really turn that person's day around just by how you.
And here's something that I've learned from you since we've been together, and I don't know that I've ever told you this. You taught me that if you're going out to eat a $20 steak and you've got $25 and you're not prepared to give that $5 to the waiter, then you don't deserve to go eat that $20 steak.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I do feel that way now.
Yeah.
That if you're not comfortable with the money that needs to be tipped before you even go eat the meal, you don't go eat that meal. Mm-mm. And I learned that from you, and I thank you for that.
Yeah. And I feel like when we first got together, I used to question you or be like, how much are you leaving? What did you leave? And now I just don't.
Now I give you the receipt and the pen.
Yeah.
And I just hate writing, so.
I don't know. I just have a special place.
That's just
in my
like,
heart.
For example, last night we went to Sonic. Mm-hmm. and we sat outside, and there's a bunch of cars everywhere eating, and me and her went, and we didn't have Joe with us, and we sat outside, and we ate a bunch. We had, it was like $26 or something because I got a bunch of crazy stuff. But anyway, at the end, we you pay before you eat and at Sonic and stuff. And the guy that had waited on us or whatever, he like left and went home. We were gonna give it to him, but she was like, "I got a $5 in my pocketbook," and then immediately in the back of my mind, I was like, a $5? Like a $5? It's like $20 worth of fast food. And I know that they're not getting paid $2.14 an hour or whatever, you know what I mean? But she immediately was like, just give him that $5. And then I thought about it and I was like, you're right. Yeah. Just give him that $5. So we gave the girl who actually brought our ice cream afterwards, gave her the $5. And the ice cream was only like $8. And when I handed it to her, because you went back to the car, when I handed it to her, she looked at it and like, she didn't look back at me, but she walked away and she was like, oh gosh. I think he meant to give me this $5. But I could tell that she was very happy. Yeah. And seeing that was very gratifying. Yeah. Being able to make somebody's day.
Yeah.
What's your last one?
Last one.
Oh God, is it something about me?
No.
Okay. You got that grin on it like you've hit a grill meal.
No, baby voices.
Baby voices.
When people talk to their child in like,
oh yeah.
One, I feel like it delays your child from speaking properly. Oh God, I hate that. I can't stand that. That is a ick.
That's awful though.
Like, I mean, you can talk to a child in a childlike voice, but that oh no, I can't.
I don't like it when people talk to babies that way, but I really don't like it when people talk to their dogs that way.
That
really pisses me off.
Your ick is extreme dog owners.
Yes, my ick is extreme dog owners. People that like love their dogs, like it's in a part of their family, like taking family pictures with it. I just can't get down with those folks. I can't do it.
You will one day when Joe has a dog.
I like dogs. I do. But I ain't, no. The dog's not fitting to be dropping flowers at my wedding. You know what I mean? The dog's not going to be in a tuxedo. That's crazy, dude. That's on another level of crazy. That's a whole nother ball game, dude. And I know, so I could name at least 5 people that I know right now who are like that, and it just makes me want to vomit. It does. Why are you laughing so hard? I hate it. It doesn't get on my nerves as much when people do it to babies, like really little babies, like infants.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, you know, they don't really know what's going on anyway. But I do think that does delay kids somewhat because people talk to them like, oh, you know.
Yeah, and I guess, I don't know, people compliment us or tell us, you know, how well Joe talks for her age. And I would like to think it's somewhat because we've just always talked to her like a human.
Yeah, we've talked to her just like we're talking now.
Yeah. Like there's a time to be childlike in what you're saying and be cute and absolutely. Like have a higher pitch and all that, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
That's just too much.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
You really got me thinking about them dogs. I cannot stand that.
It didn't dawn on me till I...
Yeah, I never thought about that once when we were planning on this episode.
I know.
God, I hate that.
I think that is your
That is my ick, dude. Ugh. Oh, man. Like, you guys want to hang out this weekend? Sorry, I'm taking Oscar to the park to have a picnic.
I do think that dogs can be a part of your family.
Yeah, I do. I do agree with that. But I just think some people take it way, way, way overboard.
Yeah. Well, to each their own.
Yeah, to each their own. At the end of the day, their property, their house, their rules.
Yep.
Whatever they want to do it.
Like
just
I said, this is our
try
opinion.
Not to do it. Try not to do it in public because it's weird. You know, it's weird. But anyway, okay, moving on. So we have a friend, and I don't think she will be mad if we mention her name. Jessica, I was talking to her, we were talking to her at the shop the other day, and she posed the question or the suggestion of the topic of talking about where we think the country is headed in 2024. Now, she didn't say that's political, economical, spiritual. She didn't really say. But do you think, so I'm 31, and we're both pretty young as far as married family, you know. Do you think it's important, or why should we care about why should people our age care about our country and what it's headed towards?
Well,
you know,
I feel like even
because I think there's a lot of people, I don't mean to interrupt you, but there's a lot of people our age who just do not give a flip about anything country-wise.
I feel like that's more my sister's generation. They're just like, not going to vote, don't care.
Yeah.
Like they think like it's just not going to affect them. And it definitely is. But I think that even if you so much as don't really care what's happening in your country, but you have children, you have to care, because when you die and they're here by themselves, they're left with what you voted for.
Yeah.
Like all the things that you voted for while you were alive, policies that are in place, all of that starts affecting that generation.
Yeah.
So even if you don't really care,
so it's
you have
like
to care for your kid.
You're playing in the sandbox right now, but your kids are going to be in that same sandbox later, so you want to clean it up.
Yeah.
As good as you can.
Yeah, basically.
Dang, that's a good analogy, bro. We got to keep that. Maybe that'll be on a t-shirt.
Oh my god.
Clean your sandbox. Yeah, I think it's important to talk about it, especially within your own home. I don't think it's as important for us to go out here and like beat people up in the store over. I don't think that's really something that I'm very passionate about. Like I don't go out here and fly all the flags of people I support and things I do. I mean, you're
not as intense as your dad.
Yeah. And there are, and I think there's a fine line that some people don't care enough. Some people care too much.
Yeah.
There's a certain line that is healthy, I think.
And it doesn't mean you're not patriotic,
Yeah.
that you don't love your
Yeah.
country, but it doesn't have to be talked about 24/7. Because I feel like because America isn't really in this great place, we're pretty much in a depression, Great Depression, part 2, 3, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I feel like the more people talk about it, it just makes the country sadder.
Yeah.
Like it.
And we're a generation now who's, when we were growing up, that's when social media was invented, and it came about, and it placed way too much information instantly in everyone's hands.
Yeah, I just feel like we're not meant to know.
Yeah.
Everything
24/7.
Yeah. Like that's why people had to watch the news at 5 o'clock every day to find out what happened during the day.
Yeah.
Like
or they had to read the newspaper.
Yeah.
You know?
Part of me wishes that part of social media like wasn't a thing.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Because we don't need to know every single time.
If we could rewind like 50 years and just take a few things from them and bring it back.
Like I don't care that Donald Trump arrived in Florida at 12:04 p.m. and 36 seconds.
Yeah.
And I don't care that Biden fell for the 15th time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that update on my phone instantly.
See, I feel like it's almost like say if you went to the college that you always dreamed you were going to go to. You finally got in, accepted, full ride. You go to that college. As soon as you get there, you go into the cafeteria. The rest of your college career, you're in the cafeteria 24/7 until you graduate, and all you care about is the food. If you live that way, you're never going to get to experience the college the way that it's supposed to be experienced.
Right.
I feel like the country's the same way. We live here. We have to actually live in it.
Yeah.
Instead of being in our house in front
Like,
of our
go
TV watching the
travel.
news 24/7 or not knowing or caring about it. I
Yeah.
mean, there is
like,
a level.
don't write off one state if you've never been there.
Yeah, or don't write off a certain necessarily a certain group of people that you've never even interacted with. You just see videos on your phone about, you know?
100%.
I think that
We have way too much access to information.
yeah.
That's all it comes down to.
I agree.
Like, okay, back when, 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
It broke the news. The whole country stopped what they were doing, cut on the TV. It was televised.
Yeah.
Why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Now granted, that was like a national thing. But I just, why can't we just, and I mean, I know the news still exists, but the news is just full of so much crap that you don't even get to watch news. Like
1,000%.
There's
no way to tell now what is even news and what's just filling time, you know?
Yeah, and
because
you only know what they want you to know.
Everything is 24/7 now.
Yeah, and I hate that. I don't want the news 24/7.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it when it came on at 5:00.
Yeah, TV didn't even used to be aired at night.
Yeah,
it was just a scratchy screen after a certain time, unless
That's
you had
crazy.
like HBO or something. So I think the question is that Jessica posed to us to talk about is where do you think the country's headed? And I think I'll pose it to you in a different way. Is do you think 2024 overall, do you think that it's going to be a more challenging year, or do you think it's going to be a more now we can finally take a breath year for most people?
I want to say it'll be a take a breath year, but I also feel like if like tables turn, and I feel like it's gonna take a lot of work to undo what's already been done.
Yeah.
So I feel like I feel like there'll be things that might make our lives easier, but there's also going to be a struggle to fix things that have already been put in place.
Yeah.
That we don't want anymore. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we're not headed uphill.
Yeah. If anything, it's just maybe like
we're like
1% incline.
Yeah, and that's if you're like optimistic,
if you're on optimistic, yeah.
But I don't think we're.
It is election year.
Yeah, I do think this election, if it's not rigged or stolen, or if we don't mail our votes in, if it's a true election, America could turn around.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's not going to happen until 2025, because election is not till the end of this year. So you're not.
But everything leading up, everything this year, if you turn on your TV, is going to be leading up to that.
Yeah.
And I think personally, that we've never, in my lifetime, I don't know what before me, and I'm sure somebody else down the line said this too. But I don't know of a election in my lifetime that is more important than this one.
Yeah.
And I know that we've said that about previous elections. I know we have. But I legit believe that there's never been one in my lifetime that is more important than this one.
Well, I agree. And I also feel like when our parents had us and they were small families, they probably felt that same pressure of this election is going to be the most important, because you're thinking for your child.
Absolutely.
Like, if America doesn't get their stuff together, I'm really scared for my child.
And as a young family, you have to look at it that way. Especially as a parent, you have to look at it and think, back to the sandbox thing. I've got to have this thing cleaned up for when my kid gets set loose in it.
Yeah.
And as a country, I think if I had to predict, I would predict should he not? Oh, I'm sorry, I hit my microphone. Pending he doesn't get disqualified or arrested, and pending that Joe Biden is the Democratic candidate, which I don't necessarily think that he will be. I think they're going to can him because it's just to the point now where it's like this guy can't. This guy can't. No,
even the Democrats don't want him.
Democrats don't even want him. And I think that it's highly likely that Trump will probably win re-election this year. I mean, not re-election, but it technically would be re-election for him. But I think that he will probably win this year in 2024 in November. And I think that's going to give... I don't think everything is hanging on that, though.
No.
Because that kind of spurs me into my second part of this question to you. And I'll finish saying that last part about Trump. I think that Trump is probably going to get reelected. And I think that a lot of things probably are going to start to change in 2025 if that happens. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily think we're going to stop going downhill and start up. Yeah. I think we're going to slowly mellow out for a year. Plateau a little bit and then start heading back up. But it may be 2026 before a lot of these things really get resolved. And we as middle class Americans feel relief, not only in our pockets but in our homes and safety and things like that. But the second part of that I was going to ask you is what do you predict 2024 to be for our country spiritually? Because every time a year rolls around that's really chaotic or that's going to be something big is going to happen, there is inevitably people who, I mean, you think of in the Bible when he said, if my people who are called by my name mm-hmm. will turn from their wicked ways, and yada, yada, and pray, humble themselves and pray, mm-hmm. I will heal their land. And probably didn't say it right, but in Isaiah, or Jeremiah or Isaiah.
Yeah, I got the gist of
Anyway, whatever. But I feel that kind of vibe for mm-hmm. 2024. Like, this is our opportunity as a country.
Turn it around year.
This is our opportunity as a country to just stop
being stupid.
Well, to just stop, think about what we're doing, ask God for forgiveness, and pray that He would heal us. Because and I'm not even talking political parties, I'm talking left and right. I mean, and in the middle. People are just hurt.
Yeah.
They're hurting.
Yeah.
And it's not even like nefarious things like that I feel, like demons attacking people or anything like that. I feel like people are there's so much depression mm-hmm. that's tagged along with people struggling so bad financially. That people are dealing with anxiety. They're dealing with like 19 billion more diagnoses mm-hmm. per day. Just everybody's got something wrong with them now. And I'm not saying that stuff's not valid. I'm just saying like it's amounted to such a point where people are hurting so bad that it just seems like this is our opportunity for us to look up as a country.
Like if we could get right spiritually, it would fix mentally and emotionally and financially.
And that's why I'm still preaching on the train of I don't think that Trump is the answer. No. I think that God could easily use him to help heal our land.
Yeah.
But I think that it first has to go up.
Yeah.
And people have got to just stop.
Because I mean, whether you're left or you're right, whatever, even I don't care how people vote.
Yeah.
Just vote on morals.
Yeah. Vote for what you believe in.
And I'm talking about like, I say it to me, it would be common sense morals, but like not everybody has the same morals. But just be logical. There's just things that that.
And I think we feel this way about a lot of topics, but if somebody sits down and they look at each candidate before they go vote for them, and they say this person supports this, and this, I'm good with all of that, and then they vote for that person. Right on, dude.
Well,
even if it's not who I vote for, right on, because you did your research, you were educated on it.
You made the best decision that you thought
You live
was
in this
possible.
free country where we have a republic, where in a democracy where you can go in, you can vote for whoever you want to based on what you believe, because you've got the freedom
because this is America.
Because you've got the freedom to believe that.
Yeah.
And I love that about our country.
Yeah.
But I feel
like that's slipping away.
It's slipping away so fast. And I think that this year in 2024, I really think that we've got an opportunity for everybody, right wing, left wing, middle of the aisle, everybody to just stop, take a deep breath, and look at the mud hole we're standing in.
Yeah. Like people, I feel, and here's the other thing, people talk about, the primaries aren't important. I'm just going to vote when it gets down to the last two. But you choose who that's going to be.
Yeah.
So say, primaries are over and you've got your final two. Just at the end of the day, you can only make an educated decision.
Yeah.
Look at what their beliefs are, what checks your boxes.
Yeah.
And vote for that person.
And if you vote
if they don't, if one checks 5 of your boxes and one checks 2, even if you had 10 boxes altogether, pick the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick what the person that supports the things that you want your child to grow up and be surrounded by and have. And it's just it's not as nefarious as people make it out to be. The media is just beside themselves of pinning Republican against Democrat and then everybody against independent and this and that. But every one of us are citizens of this country.
I feel like everybody should be independent.
I feel like everybody needs to listen to this portion of this podcast because I feel like we're really hitting it home right there with that. But yeah, to answer Jessica's question, in my opinion, I think that 2024 is going to be a chaotic year. It's going to be very crazy.
But it's very critical.
But I think it's very critical, and I think that there is an opportunity for us to turn things around, and I hope and pray that it's headed in that direction, and I want it to be.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
That's all you have on that?
Yeah.
Man, I really felt like I was getting into it there for a minute.
You were. You were all about it.
Yeah. I
like talking about America, politics, stuff like that, but I feel like it's hard for me to get how I feel and what's in my head to come out of my mouth.
Yeah, to translate it from there to there.
Yeah. I have a lot of things in my life that I can't verbally execute.
I think this is another way for us to exercise that.
Yeah.
And be able to come.
People are going to listen to this podcast and be like, what is she talking about?
No, they won't. I think you're probably the more sound voice than me.
I don't.
All right. So last topic. You look like you are miserable. Tell me why.
This is the most uncomfortable setup ever. My back hurts so bad.
You should try this seat next week.
Maybe.
This is pretty comfy.
It's just I'm sitting I feel like when I stand up, I'm gonna catch a cramp.
Your back's
this
gonna
side
crack.
because I've been turned. I don't like this. We just need chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chairs will be nice.
Because originally when we bought this futon, this wasn't even a thing.
What was it? Oh yeah.
The
That's
podcast.
True. That's true.
I was like, we can put that in the spare room in case somebody.
We could just get like 3 or 4 comfy chairs. Yeah.
I want to pick out mine.
Of course you do. They're gonna be $400 a piece.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, so our last topic, one income household, 2024. Is it possible?
Does one income household mean? Are there side gigs?
Yeah, whatever. That's what I'm saying. Is it possible? And if so, how?
It is possible if you are super strict and you can budget, and you might have a side gig here or there, or you might make something and sell something.
Because we are technically on paper, well, not really anymore, but we have been up to this point a one income household.
Yeah.
And that has had its struggles.
Yeah.
Because when we first met, we both worked.
Yeah.
And then you got pregnant with Joe. Then we made the decision that you were going to.
Well, I don't even think it was that. I lost my job. So
Yeah.
then it was just kind of like.
You did, yeah. But that kind of helped and led into
that
you
definitely
being
pushed
stay-at-home mom.
me into being a stay-at-home mom. I do feel like if that wouldn't have happened.
Oh, yeah. You'd have been back at work somewhere else doing something.
I would miss that job a lot.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of people our age who are in.
It is hard.
It's hard, but there's a lot of people who are they're trying so desperately to figure out how to make that work with one income, because people are having kids, but at the same time you can't do daycare because daycare is so friggin' expensive.
It is the cost of a second job.
And it's way cheaper for one of the two people to stay at home with the kids.
Yeah.
And then the other person has that responsibility on their shoulders of working and paying for everything.
Yeah. So
it's hard.
Me and a friend of mine had this conversation the other day because we're both stay-at-home moms. And we've had a couple different people just like over the past 2-3 years since we've had kids.
What letter does her name start with?
M.
Okay. All right. I know who it is. Sorry, I'm nosy.
We've had people or like other moms comment or reach out and say, hey, like, I know this might be, I guess, too much information or might be overstepping, but like, how can y'all afford to be a one-income household? Because to the presence of social media, it seems like, we're going and doing and, living
buying land, putting a house on it.
Living our best life, and we're one income, and they're like, how?
Yeah.
And because they both work and their kids are in daycare, whatever. And there's certain sacrifices you have to be willing to make. Like, to me, putting her in daycare wasn't worth me going to work just to, one, be able to pay for that daycare and maybe have like a couple $100 extra a month, when I could stay at home with her, not have that bill at all.
And then she would end up being sick all the time anyway, and then you'd be
then I would still be out of work, and I'd still, it's a cycle.
Yeah. Kind of silly when you really talk it out.
You really have to, your priorities have to, I guess, be in order. Like, I want a new car.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You tell me all the time.
I know. And I'm going, and I can talk about that because I can.
It's America.
But
you do it, babe.
At the end of the day, we made this choice and we sacrificed. Like, I would rather have a car that's paid for or has a super low payment. It's probably not brand new.
Yeah.
It's probably not super nice.
Yeah.
But it gets us from A to B.
And it does work.
And because of that, we still have money to live our life.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to catch me driving a $50,000 car and me sit at home because I have no money to go anywhere in that car. I will always be the person, I'm going to drive the cheaper car.
You tell them, baby. Preach it.
So I can go and do. But that's just what I enjoy. And if I have my child and she's my responsibility and I want to give her the best childhood, how can I be so selfish to let me go purchase this $50,000 car so I have half of a mortgage of a car payment. And now I'm stuck in my house with my child. I can't go and take her and do anything fun or educational because I wanted a luxurious car. Because
I have personally, me and my brother always joke about how each other's rich. We're not. Yeah. We're not. But I always joke with him, and we joke with each other. He's like, I wish I had the money you got. Just joking.
Yeah.
But in reality, I've had conversations with people who that I work with who say things like, "You must not be broke. You buying land, putting a house on it. You going out to eat." And the answer to those questions is not because we have a lot of money. It's because my wife is smart with money.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I'm bad with money. Not as much anymore as I used to be.
Yeah, you've gotten better. A one-income household is possible, but you really do have to give up things.
Yeah.
Like,
what is an example that we've had to sacrifice or give up?
Well, like we said, I could drive a new car, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a gym membership.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's such a
That is a big thing.
Yeah, it is.
It not to you because you don't like to work out, but it is to me.
Facts.
I don't have gym memberships. I don't.
We don't shop at Publix. We shop at Aldi.
Yeah. And that is a huge thing, like food. And I've seen so much on Facebook this past week of all these moms talking about, is everybody else spending $300 a week in groceries? Because how are we even affording this right now? And
no, honey.
All
honey,
right,
no.
we probably spend $150.
Yeah.
But you have to very strategically buy groceries, and I try to buy most of the things that we get organic.
Yeah.
So our best option is
one
Aldi.
thing that people don't realize is that name brand and off brand is not the only two options.
No.
That off brand can still be something organic and healthy.
Yeah.
And you go somewhere like Aldi, and that same box of $6 cereal or whatever it is,
or like their pasta sauce.
Yeah.
Like it's just
you can get something that's still not terrible for you.
Yeah.
That still tastes good.
Yeah.
And you just have to get used to it. It just comes down to budgeting. You have to be super strategic, and you have to be strict. And I don't go and get $6-7 iced coffees. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I used
every day, or drive to Rock Hill every day and go shopping. You just don't do that.
Like
now you do drive a lot of places, but we have a good car that's good on gas. So we did that for a reason.
And another thing is I save gas because Joe isn't in daycare, because we live in the middle of nowhere. So daycare is half an hour there, half an hour home. That gas adds up.
Yeah, it does.
Like when Joe did go to school for like 2 months because we just thought life was going to be different, but it wasn't. And
I think we should talk about that in a future episode.
Okay. But the gas, I mean, I was having, even our car that's good on gas, I was having to fill up like every 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is crazy.
And there's just so many things that you can do without.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, for me specifically, I spend a lot of time in my car at work. And when I first started that job, I was going to the gas station every night, getting,
probably $10 worth.
Yeah, just like $7, $8, $9 worth of
chips, drinks,
Gatorades, whatever. Stuff that you would normally want if you were in a car that long.
Yeah.
But I have trained myself to only drink one foreign drink during the night.
Yeah.
That's my thing now.
Yeah.
That I drink water, a lot of water, and then maybe one drink from a gas station or something. So instead of spending $7, $8, $9 or $10, I'm spending maybe $2.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing my food from home. And then over the course of 4 weeks, that's like
a lot of
money. That's probably at least one grocery trip.
Yeah.
And just out of simply not drinking 3 drinks a night.
Yeah.
And so there's little things like that we have sacrificed to make this into reality. And also those people I was talking about that had those conversations with me, they mentioned, you buying land, putting a house on it, you got bricks on, brick under it, but they don't realize that we chose the absolute cheapest option. Not cheap, it was the cheapest option that we thought looked nice. And we could have probably went for something bigger and been in more debt, but we foresaw that being a struggle, and we made that sacrifice up front because we knew we wanted to do things.
Yeah.
We wanted to have the land.
Of course, I would love a 2,000 square foot house.
Yeah. And that's all you see on social media. You don't see anything like us who lives in the single wide on bricks.
Yeah.
Out in the country.
But it just, like, yes, And I think that's another downfall of social media is people think that they have to have things that they don't need.
Oh, yeah.
And I've really had to learn that myself.
But how happy have we been here?
Very happy.
Once we
because
finally got here.
we know that every month we can make that payment.
Yeah.
And we're not upside down in it.
Yeah. Now, do we have extra hustle stuff?
Yeah.
To help
Like
give us an extra little spread on top?
A little bit of overtime here and there, and
I work maybe once or twice a month, do a little overtime, put a little extra jingle on top.
Yeah.
And it gives us the
money. And now my
money.
business is finally starting to pay off a little bit. So, but it hadn't always been like that.
No, we've spent a year doing,
I mean, we lived in a camper.
Yeah, we lived in a camper for a while.
Specifically so we could
haven't
get
really
away.
talked much about that, but.
Like, we chose to sell our house that was a $1,500 payment and move to a camper that was $400 a month.
Yeah, so we could save money.
So we could save money to buy the land to get a house.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't like we sold our $1,500 house and came out here and bought this land and then went up there and told them put that house on here and buy that.
Yeah, like it's a process.
It's a process. Yeah, we bought the land first, waited a little while.
It took months.
Yeah, and then bought the house.
And it is a lot of...
But when people see you, they think that couple got that all in 1 month. Yeah, you know, they don't know the full story.
No, there were,
and then they think it's
so
possible.
Many tears and prayers and
Oh my God, how many times have we been, just completely rock bottom, down and out about house situation,
and how what we thought was going to cost this actually cost this, and like where is it going to come from,
and how each point along the way, just simply, in my opinion, because we made the decision to make those sacrifices, when new obstacles that we didn't expect came, every single time. We thought, oh my gosh, how are we going to pay for this now? Well, every single time, though, that happened, God provided a way for us to make that happen.
Yeah.
Every step.
And I also think, going back to the whole, like what you see on social media, and everybody wants the 2,000 square foot house with a 40 by 40 shop and the cement driveway and tons of land and cows and like all this stuff. But
it's all you see.
It is all you see. And for some people, that is their reality. And those people probably work super hard for what they have.
Yeah.
But those people probably don't see their kids but for 2 hours when they pick them up from school,
Absolutely.
Get them home.
Or either they just have a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
Either one. But you're right. You're right.
And to me, that was such a huge thing that I struggled with when we had Joe. And it was right when she, I guess, turned a year old. And we were discussing whether or not to put her in daycare, me go back to work. And to me, especially once we knew she was the one and only kid that we were going to be able to have.
Yeah.
That's
also another story for another episode.
It wasn't worth me going back to work to pay for her to go somewhere 8 hours a day for me to pick her up, come home, do dinner, bath, and put her to bed. And I only saw her for 2 hours because that's not raising my child. To me, that's not raising my child. And we had to make a lot of sacrifices for me to be able to stay at home with her.
That's a fact.
But to me, it was worth it.
Yeah.
And I know that.
And there are some people who just simply do not have that option.
Yeah.
And we do not hate those people.
No.
I mean, I'm just saying, we talk about it like we had to make those sacrifices so that we could have that because it's better. But there are some people who do not have that opportunity and don't have the ability to do that. And they have to both work.
Yeah. And that is totally fine.
Yeah. And that's totally fine too.
We're all just trying to survive.
That's a fact. God's given everybody opportunities, and sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
And it doesn't make you any less of a parent.
Yeah.
Because you both work or anything like that.
Because here's where the belittling comes in, is that, and this is specifically because I see the things that I have just recently gotten back onto social media as far as like Facebook and stuff is concerned. So most of the social media stuff that I know of, I see on your phone when you're scrolling. So a lot of the stuff I see on your phone is like, as far as this is concerned, the people who are, husband, wife, 2, 3, 4 kids, super nice house or whatever, barn dominium or whatever, and they almost give the impression that this is what you want.
Mm-hmm. That's the point.
And those videos are being shown to people who husband and wife both have to work. They've got 3 kids and they are struggling. One of them has child support from a different marriage or whatever it may be. Everybody has their own struggles.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those people are having to see those videos constantly and seeing what they think that life is supposed to be like, or what I should have, and why don't I have that? And then it causes depression and anxiety.
Wonder why half the country has depression.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. If we could just cut everything off, look at your own family, enjoy them.
Just be happy.
Just be happy that you have the ability to breathe and be in front of your family and watch your children grow up.
Yeah.
I was watching Joe riding that 4-wheeler outside today, and I just could not get over how happy she looked.
Yeah, she has no care.
When I say 4-wheeler, y'all, I don't mean like a legit 4-wheeler because that's expensive.
Side-by-side.
This is like a little electric car thing that you ride in the yard. But the look on her face is just like pure happiness. She don't care what the mortgage costs. She don't care what the car payment is. All she cares about is that moment when she's on that little car.
Yeah.
And the wind's flying through her hair.
Yeah.
And she's turning around. Daddy,
I want her to have that for as long as possible.
Absolutely.
To not understand or to not compare what she has versus what somebody else has. That's why I feel like a lot of parents that have young kids like us, that next generation coming up, I feel like maybe things will change because I feel to me anyways, to the friends that I have that have kids, I feel like we're all in agreement that like none of them's getting social media.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I honestly feel like if everybody of our generation that grew up
to just
with
agree to do that,
would just agree to cut it off and not do it or not give them a phone or whatever, maybe our kids will have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
And maybe that generation will be the comeback.
Yeah.
Of doing things the right way. And, like, I don't know. It's
scary.
It is very scary.
It's scary. But at the end of the day, like I said before, God has provided for us as a family every single step of the way. Whenever we thought, oh God, there's no way we're going to get past this, something happens every single time and we get past it.
Yeah. And
He provides for us. And I believe, and I would think that you would probably agree with me, correct me if I'm wrong, that if you will honor God in your household and try and raise your kids and your family as best as you can, then the same God that has done that for us can do that for them too. No matter what the family situation is.
Yeah.
If we will just stop, take a deep breath, pray, and honor God in our house, He's going to bless us.
Yeah, because your kids and their kids and their kids, they reap what we sowed.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And we're reaping what our parents sowed.
Yeah.
And learning from that and trying to move forward with it, and good or bad. And so ultimately, thank you, Jessica, for those couple questions on America. And she didn't really ask about the one-income household thing, but I felt that it was a good time to talk about that at the beginning of the year, and if we think it's a good idea or not. So, but I think I've said my piece on that. Man, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking about that. Do you have anything else?
I mean, do you want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Speaking about money and one-income households.
And God providing.
Let's talk for just a minute before we wrap it up about tithing. Mm-hmm. This is for any listeners who are listening who are not believers, as far as being a Christian, who are not believers. This is going to be like probably the boringest part of this for you. I hope that you would stay and listen, but you don't have to.
You might learn something.
You might learn something, maybe. But tithing is something that, basically in a nutshell, can you describe or just explain tithing?
It's you.
Because I'm having a hard time coming up with what to say about that.
It's you giving back to God what He's already given you. So basically, He allows you to wake up, breathe, go to work, and make money to provide. So in return, you give Him 1/10 of that back. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's saying a thank you for letting me live and be allowed to go to work.
Thank you for giving me what I do have.
Yeah. It's just a thankfulness.
Yeah.
And a lot of people struggle with it.
I know I have.
Yeah,
personally.
and I have friends that we've talked.
I have. That's one thing that I've noticed about you since we've been together is and you can always assume something about somebody from the outside looking in. But I would like to think that I know you pretty well. We've been married, 4 years now? Almost 4 years. You never gave the vibe that you struggled whatsoever with tithing. Now, there was a portion of our time when we first got together where we just didn't do that. We weren't in church.
Yeah. And it bothered me so much because I knew.
Yeah.
And I really felt like we were struggling and we were going to struggle because we weren't doing that.
Yeah. And you never really seemed to have a struggle with that. Once we did start going, once we got back in church and kind of got our lives turned around a little bit. Yeah, it's just
never a question.
It's never been a question for you, but it always has been a question for me. And even now, I still have those thoughts sometimes. And I know that we, if anyone is wondering, we do pay our tithes. Now, we pay, Haley kind of takes care of that part for us because she's our money queen.
Every paycheck.
10%. It's the first thing she does. 10%. I don't
pay another bill.
Yeah, we don't pay any bills.
When you get paid on whatever day it is, Thursday.
Yeah.
When I wake up that morning, I pay our tithes before I do anything else.
And sometimes it's like, I feel like...
And it's nice now because you can pay them online.
Yeah, you can pay them online.
It was a real struggle when we were still having to go get it out.
At our other church that we went to, we had to pay them, go get it out and put it in an offering plate and all that stuff.
Which I do miss that.
Yeah, there is a...
you have to be more thoughtful with being intentional and going to get it.
And then back in the day, Bible times, they had to bring it to, bring their offerings to the church, and it wasn't just money, like cattle and all kind of stuff, So there was a lot of work involved in it. But I think for me, it's just always been one of those things where, and maybe this is the provider in me that says this, but I've always had that little voice in the back of my head, like, yes. My heart says, yes, let's do this. God deserves, well, he doesn't want it, but he deserves at least 10% of what I have to honor him. And I get it. And I'm on board with it. And I love it. And I want to do it. But there's a little voice in the back of my head says that, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You could still just go to church and be who you are and be a Christian and be a good person and still go to heaven and not give him $200 out of your $2,000.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like everybody does have that voice though. It's not just you because it's the devil. And that
little voice also says at the end of that, and no one will ever know. Yeah. Except for
the church bookkeeper.
Well, that and God.
Yeah, and God.
But I'm saying nobody none of your friends will ever know.
Yeah.
And you could,
I just.
And it's hard because I legitimately, in my heart, I want to do that. And I want to honor God in that way. And I want my family to honor God in that way. And I've always looked up to you for that because you've always been so steadfast on that specific topic and so strong in it. Because there's been weeks where I'm like, God, how are we going to pay this?
And I'm just like, it doesn't matter.
And she says it doesn't matter. paying the tithes. We'll figure that bill out later.
Yeah.
And
then there's been times when you were like, no, like this has to get paid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it
and
will.
we've legitimately had fights about it.
Yeah. And I'm like, it will. And then I just remember I think there was one time and I said, do you not have enough faith in God that he will not come up with this money to pay this
and
between now and then?
That's a serious question. And sometimes, I mean, I would like to think that 24/7, you know,
I mean, we all
365.
have weak moments in our faith.
Yeah. But anytime something comes to do with money, my faith gets real weak.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, what's weak for you is not for me, and I have other weak points.
Yeah.
So. But, I mean, I do think that's a natural thing to have, like, a part of you that's like, oh, I don't want to do this.
My role in our family is the person who, you know, up to this point it has been anyway, is the person who goes to work, works hard, and makes enough money to bring home to our family so that we can, one, pay our bills and put food on our table. And I think about all of those things that we have to do with that money, even while I'm working for it. Mm-hmm. And then after all of that, when I get that money, the thought of chipping the corner or chipping a little bit off of that money and then just sending it to the church. And I know that you're not just sending it to the church, but in that moment, that thought of me is just like, yeah, I want to be you.
Well, it's just, it's flesh. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think because I mean, there's still a part of me that's like, God, we could really use that 200 for this or that. And then I literally have to tell myself like, it's going to get paid no matter what.
Yeah.
I do not worry about money.
Yeah. See, I do constantly.
And I worry about a lot of other things.
Yes, you do.
But that is just one thing that I've just always been secure in.
And I feel like the Israelites, because it never fails over and over and over again since and this did not start necessarily until we began paying our tithes. Mm-hmm. It's almost like it turned the blessing switch on. And I'm not saying, for anybody who's listening, I'm not saying, and I don't believe necessarily that the Bible says that if you pay your tithes, God's going to give you a bunch of money.
No,
it does not say that.
You, and he will make your ends meet.
But we can, without a shadow of a doubt, say that when you start paying your tithes from a good place in your heart, and it's coming from you to that for the right reason, you will see a difference in your life. Mm-hmm. And we have seen over and over and over again since we started paying our tithes. A new bill comes up for $500. Somehow we get a random $600 in the bank.
Yeah.
From something we didn't know we even had.
Yeah.
It just never, ever failed. It has never failed.
Yeah.
And every single time.
And because of that, that's why I don't struggle to pay it.
And that's the craziest thing, is where I feel like the Israelites is every single time something comes up, immediately I think, oh my God, how are we going to do this? And I don't think back to the 28 other times where God said, oh.
You're just walking around the wilderness for 40 years.
I am. I'm walking in the wilderness. I am. And then she comes in and says, have we ever missed one? Or have we ever not paid this? And I got to think, yeah, I know, but like this is the time where we're going to miss it.
And I'm just like, but we're not.
But just trust God and relax.
Yeah.
And I just cannot.
I have to look at it like this.
I want to.
Me and a friend were talking about this the other day. God doesn't need your money. He does not need your tithes at all, because he's God. He can build whatever with whatever, and he doesn't need you at all. I look at your tithes as, I guess like what are you doing?
Sorry, I think I broke the wall.
Broke the wall?
I didn't really, but keep going.
Sorry. I look at tithing as God doesn't need you or your money. Yeah. But when you give that 10%, I feel like God takes that money and puts it in a box. He doesn't need it. He doesn't touch it. So, but when you're faithful in that and you're giving that with the right heart, it's almost like your own little personal savings box with God.
Yeah.
So that way when something crazy comes up and your refrigerator goes out, or your dishwasher leaks all over the floor, your dryer quits working, God dips back into that box and somehow sends that to you to repair those things.
Yeah, that is good.
And when a friend of mine gave me that analogy, I was like, wow, that makes so much sense.
That would definitely explain some of the times that we've had.
Yeah, because I mean, it really does work like that. And so why would we not? Because he's going to get his money either way. Either you're not going to pay it, and when that dryer fixes, you're about to.
And it's not even about the money.
No, it's
just about us honoring him.
Yeah, and giving back with a grateful and thankful heart. Yeah. But I feel like
for a family who has never done this before, who has never paid their tithes before, if it is as real of a struggle for you as it was for me, you don't even have to start with the 10%. Just start.
Give him something. And I feel like the more you give anything, it slowly becomes easier.
Yeah.
And
I can guarantee you that you will see a difference in your life.
Yeah.
You will. Just by that one simple act. And there's so many other areas to being a child of God and receiving blessings and everything. There's so many different areas. But just that one specific area of tithing has legitimately changed the way that we operate financially.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you're subtracting.
Yeah.
Subtracting has given us more, which is crazy.
It's because it's not natural.
Yeah, it's not.
It goes against what is...
everything.
Yeah, what you're taught your whole life.
It goes against me.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I can honestly say that's just one thing that I've never felt. I mean, like I said, we're all human and we're all like, I could really use that for something else. But I don't know. I just do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
everybody has their own vices. My struggle is to read my Bible. I try it in the morning. I try it at night.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen every single day, and I hate that.
I'm terrible.
I have gotten better. I have gotten a lot better about it because I specifically keep it on my nightstand.
Yeah.
But
I'm terrible.
That's a struggle for me. Like I will write a check for every dollar that's in our bank account right now. But it is so hard for me. And I think part of it is because when I start reading, I literally...
please don't write that check, by the way.
When I start reading, my mind just like, I start thinking about crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like in the Bible.
Yeah.
And then I get sleepy and I fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I have done a lot better. Like I read all of Ephesians the other week.
Really?
Yeah, which isn't a very long book, but I'm getting there.
That's
I
awesome.
found that and it's the same way for me in church. Like I have to take notes in church. Otherwise,
I can't.
I'm like a squirrel. And I'm like, I don't know what he just said.
I'm the opposite. If I take notes, I won't know what's going on.
No, I have to take notes. And I've learned the same thing. I can't go into reading my Bible to just opening my Bible and reading it.
I think maybe it's because I listen to podcasts so much. Because I've tuned my brain to listening to people talk and doing other things.
Yeah.
And I think in church I feel the same way, as that if I'm like taking notes or something, I won't get it. But if I'm, and a lot of times you've thought it was kind of like disrespectful of me, but I'll be like in a totally different book of the Bible reading something while the preacher is preaching.
I'm like, you're not even paying
attention.
But
I love that. And I'm listening and I'm getting what he's saying. And I'm also at the same time reading something else.
Yeah, I can't.
And I can do that.
No, but I have had to learn that when I go in to read my Bible, I'm not just opening it up and reading it. Like I've had to really like pray before I start reading and take notes. Or I find a topic like here lately I've been searching and reading every verse in the Bible that has to do with anxiety.
Yeah.
And I've been writing them down because I learn and I memorize things by repetition and writing. So I just have a notebook filled with all kinds of Bible verses about anxiety.
That's awesome.
So that way, like, I don't know.
That's cool.
Whenever I have a panic attack, I can just be like, back up, say,
get up off me, bro.
Get off me. I can't do with this today. I got things to do.
I got stuff to do. That's awesome. I'll kind of wrap it up with a quick story in reference to one income household and tithing and all of that kind of wrapped into one little thing. So my grandpa,
I love him.
Sweetest old dude on the planet. I mean, just salt of the earth. Him and my grandma. And they're great. And so in my early, entering adult manhood years, like 20s, early 20s, I talked to him because in that time you're trying to figure out, as a man, you're trying to figure out what kind of job do I need in order to support a family.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out how you're going to do that and through the lens of your own new generation and all the new things you have to pay for, whatever. So I was having a conversation with my grandpa one time, and I told him, I said, he was asking me how things were going, and I said, it's just tough, man. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? What's tough? And I said, look, I need to ask you a question. Because he's like a fountain of wisdom. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to ask him a question. He's just come in and start telling you and talking about it. Stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just one of those kind of guys. He's so full of wisdom that it just spills out. But anyway, I asked him this question, and I said, I call him Pawpaw. I said, Pawpaw, how did you do it? And he said, how did you do what? How did I do what? And I said, how did you build, buy a house, have land, have cars that worked, have 2 kids, and have one income, and have huge spread meal on the table every night? And when I say one income, I mean like legit middle class, yeah, $50,000-$60,000 income, whatever, maybe that much. And how did you have, the huge spread meal on the table every night, raise the kids, house, camper, cars, and how did you have it all? It seems like you had it all.
Yeah.
With one income, because I've spent the past 10 years trying to figure out how to do that myself.
Yeah.
And that's difficult. And I just don't see how it's possible, or didn't at the time. And he said, son, I'd put it to you like this. We didn't have the things that you have. We didn't have the things that you have to pay for. I didn't have to pay for those things. We didn't have a phone bill. We didn't even have a phone. He said their whole street had a phone, one phone. What? The whole street used the one phone. Yeah. Which is way early.
Just like a telephone booth at the end of your street?
Like for the street, yeah. So, or the whole street somehow shared the phone line. Or something.
Crazy.
That's so crazy. Yeah.
I wish I could.
He said we didn't have a phone bill. We didn't have 7 different kinds of insurance. We didn't have an internet bill because we didn't have internet. That wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have, like I said, 7 different kinds of insurance for every hair on your head. Nobody had doctor bills because you didn't go to the doctor because nobody was sick. All your food, half of your food came from the garden behind the house.
Yeah.
You didn't have streaming services. You had a TV that picked up channels through the airwaves or whatever it was, not air, well, whatever it was, antenna or something. And there's 3 channels, and you didn't have to pay for them. It's public. He said 65, 70% of the things you pay for your family, I didn't even have those things. We paid for the water bill. Well, the water was a well.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to pay for water. And they had septic tank. So that wasn't even a bill. There was no bill there. You just used the earth.
Yeah.
And then all they had to pay for was electricity.
I'm sure they probably had gas back then.
Yeah, and gas, electric and stuff. And he said, I didn't have 75% of the bills that you have or that you're going to have. And I just never thought about it like that. And if you look at all the things that you and I as a family now in 2024 have, 50 years ago, half of this stuff, half of these bills didn't exist. Mm-hmm. And we wonder why people ate 7 course meals every night and only one person worked and they had everything they needed. It's because they just didn't need everything.
And we wonder why half our America in themselves wasn't morbidly obese with heart disease because they ate
fresh vegetables,
what came from them,
and those meals that they cooked. And they cooked fried pork chops and stuff back then, but it was all fresh. Everything was so good,
fresh and natural, and there wasn't chemicals and additives and.
And I just always really thought that was a neat story. When he told me that, it kind of like opened my eyes that like, holy crap, I really don't need any of this.
If you have power and water,
you're good.
You're good.
If your phone bill cuts off, you're fine.
You're not going to die.
You're not going to die. If you're, you got to have car insurance, but the rest of all this stuff, you just don't need all this stuff. All these streaming services, internet bill, all that stuff. If push comes to shove and the country like goes nuts, all that stuff's going to be cut out anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if the power grid goes down,
you're done.
All these people that do social media for a living, they're not going to be able to pay their house payment.
Yeah. And so hopefully they got a lot of money saved up.
Yeah, hopefully.
In jars or whatever. But anyway, I thought that was a real...
So much is based on technology now.
Yeah.
And we just don't need it.
We don't realize it or need it, yeah. When you have the ability to have a wholesome family and raise your family, you already have what you need.
Yeah.
This is just other junk.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the junk is fun.
Yeah.
But,
it's okay
to have things.
And have
yeah. And I'm not saying we should...
To have convenience.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should go back to when they had nothing.
Yeah.
And ate vegetables out of the garden all the time. I mean, I'm not saying we should go back to all of that. But there is
bits and pieces
that we can take from it and apply to us today.
Yeah.
There's definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I just thought it was a good story to kind of end things on.
Yeah, that was good.
All righty.
You feel good?
I feel great. That was probably my favorite episode that we've done yet.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Our backs are broken.
I know. I hate this. I'm not doing this again.
You could try this seat next week, maybe.
Maybe. And then if that's not comfortable, I'm buying a chair.
But you agree that we've both been more pungent just by being in here.
I've been more awake.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, we're having a conversation here that we probably should have it later.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're going to wrap it up now, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Episode 6. That's a wrap. And if you guys have any... So real quick, before we cut it off, I told you guys last week that if you wanted to send in something to us, you can do it on Facebook. We created a Facebook page this week. If you look it up on Facebook, it's Totally Worth It Podcast. It's got our picture, contact information, whatever. But last week I mentioned an email address that I created, and it was totallyworthitpod@gmail.com. Now, somebody reached out to us, said, hey, we sent something to the email address, but it said that the email address didn't exist. Here's why. The email does exist, but Google, when I created it, somehow thought that we were using it for nefarious purposes or whatever. And so they disabled that email address, and I'm waiting on the appeal that I sent in to...
That's so crazy.
I don't know why they did that. So I typed out a big explanation for them and was like, hey, no. I need that email address.
I have no doubt that you did that.
I did. It was very to the point. But anyway, so that email address is kind of not working right now. So just reach out to us on social media, Facebook. Reach out to Haley in direct message or me in a direct message or whatever. You can get in touch with us somehow, I'm sure. Yeah. If you got any ideas for topics or anything like that you want us to maybe address in a future episode, that'll be cool. We've also got some ideas coming up that we're going to do on some kind of like whole entire episode talks on a certain few things. And we've also got a few people that we've been talking about. We have not talked to these people or even asked them, but we've already been kind of discussing a few people that we know and follow on certain issues and topics and stuff that we would be super cool if we could maybe get them on the podcast and talk to them. And we're also working on testing out some video stuff for like YouTube, because eventually I think we're going to move in towards like a video podcast. But we're working on that kind of stuff now in the background too. So once again, thank you guys so much for listening. Anything else for you to say, Haley?
No, let's go to bed.
Let's go to bed. She wants to go to bed, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Next week.